morning, good morning. Welcome to
song.
After Sunrise. Yeah,
Okay.
you like it? That's your
nice.
jam?
Yeah,
That's your jam,
that's nice.
huh? Hey, thanks for joining us. I'm Maddie Jansen, Kevin Trett, Alex Fisher. You know the drill.
Here we are.
Here we are.
Another day, another conversation.
Another day. Talking about the forecast a lot lately. I think this has been one of the most beautiful springs that we've had in a long time, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, it's great. I like the up and down. I like not seeing 90s too long.
Right.
I was walking last night going, let's hold on to this for as long. Because the
You're
longer
right.
we hold on to these temperatures, the shorter our summer will be.
Our long stretch of
Right.
triple digits or
Triple-digit
high
days will be
90s.
limited. Yes.
Yeah.
Is there like a, because I know that every once in a while you give like a long-term outlook is like this is what the models are kind of, which I know
like
is like
our
all over like
summer
Do we
or
have
something
a
like
Yeah,
summer? Is
one
it
will be coming out soon on that.
Okay.
Yeah, they usually do a 30-day and a 90-day, from
Okay.
NOAA.
But you haven't seen like
Not yet.
what they're expecting for our summer?
Not yet. That'll come out
It's still
soon
too
here.
early.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then we have Relay for Life this weekend, and there's going to be a lot of people out there.
I know there's a lot of events happening this weekend. Yeah, Friday night and Saturday.
Yeah, and we've seen it all for Relay. And this weekend is Friday, Saturday, Sunday is going to be one of those weekends where I think if you are headed out to Relay for Life, you need to be prepared because, again, this is a system that arrives Friday, more so into Saturday. Whenever you see a front push on into California, we see those winds pick up. So
It literally blows through.
yes,
Yeah.
and we have a lot of tents, a lot of canopies out at Relay for Life. So, and usually set up as Friday afternoon. So if you're going to be setting up Friday afternoon for Relay for Life, make sure you have sandbags or you keep the tents down and put them up Saturday morning. Because right now it does indicate a breeze picking up in the afternoon on Friday, and then the chance of showers right now, probably late afternoon, evening on Saturday. So just be prepared for some weather starting Friday afternoon through the weekend.
Be prepared.
Yeah.
And we'll be out there,
The
so
words of the Lion King.
Yeah.
Yes.
Be prepared.
Yeah.
We're going to be out there Saturday morning, especially for the opening ceremonies. Alex will be emceeing that, and the Survivors Lab.
yeah, the medal ceremony, which I just love.
Yes, that. And then what is the other event you're doing there?
Doing
at
a
Relay?
doctor panel. I don't know too much about it yet. They're supposed to give me more information. You might. I mean, you did.
Yeah, I've done it in the
before.
past.
Yeah.
So it's
Okay.
a panel of doctors up on the stage, and then Alex moderated, and they have cute cards of questions from people that are at Relay for Life,
Right.
and you kind of go around the panel, and doctors who have that specialty are able to kind of answer some questions from folks at Relay.
It's not a long panel. It's like an hour, I think, or
Yeah.
something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's
So
good
many cool
information.
events. Yeah.
Things that you
It's
may have
fantastic.
had questions of that, maybe you haven't been able to ask your doctor or something. They give you a little insight on some of those topics.
I love that.
Relay for Life is so good because it's like it's really neat to see like you've got families, you've got friends, you've got coworkers, you've got I mean there are some like community groups that like they form their own teams, right? And like they meet every single year because they're remembering, honoring someone that they've lost. But it's great to see like everyone kind of come together and relay, right? And take an opportunity on this 24-hour period, this one day, to talk about this and to talk about how there's still so much work that needs to be done, but also there's an opportunity to reflect and remember those. Like when you have the
Luminaria.
yeah, the Luminaria, it is beautiful. Like it's so touching to like I mean. Every year, I put one out for my grandma who died of liver cancer 10 years ago this September, which is hard to believe. But putting that out there every year, it's therapeutic, it's emotional,
Right.
but it's like it's a good like moment to just say like you are still here, like you are still present. Your legacy is still being remembered.
And you get to, it's a healing, it's part of healing, sometimes it takes 10, 20,
Right.
you never forget. And it's also a time to celebrate those that have been able to beat this horrible disease, and so, it's just a great weekend. So hopefully it's packed out there and everybody will join.
Yeah.
Yeah, just, grab one of those like really cheap 99-cent ponchos
Oh yeah,
to have with you.
A little rain's
Grab
not
them at
gonna
Walmart.
It's Bakersfield.
It's going to be a
We
little
love the
rain. I mean,
let me
come
guess.
on.
It's not going to be
It's also gonna be good because like it can get dusty
dust.
out there, so
Yeah.
actually it's probably just gonna be just enough to like settle that. So
Yeah.
it's actually gonna be
Friday night, not so
beneficial.
much.
The
Yeah.
temperature will be nice.
Huh?
The
Temperatures,
temperature?
yeah, 70s.
When did you say the rain could pick up?
Probably not until Saturday. Again, we're early.
You're
on, it's
too far
Tuesday.
out, yeah.
But right now, Saturday afternoon into the
Oh,
evening.
okay.
So, and then the breeze picking up Friday afternoon. Typical, head of a front. So.
And there's so many things for kids and
Oh,
families,
yeah.
like so much fun stuff to do and see out there. And it's a way, even if you're not part of a team, to go out and support these teams that are donating funds. So like they have fun raffles and things you can buy, and those monies that you spend there then go back into Relay for Life and help those teams raise money. So for cancer research and for patients. So it's really cool. I hope you come out this weekend at the Kern County Fairgrounds. It's going to be a great weekend regardless.
Yep.
It's going to be beautiful. It always is. I was thinking back actually to remember past relays. So it's funny how it's gone through so many phases. So the Kern County Fairgrounds, it's been at for several years now.
Yeah, it used to be at
Before that,
CSUB.
I remember when it was at CSUB.
I remember it was at CSUB. Went to the soccer park for a time.
I don't remember that.
Did it? No.
It was probably maybe before you were here.
Oh, that was like, oh, okay.
It was at Garces a long time ago.
Oh, wow.
That's where I remember it being when I was a kid, was at Garces.
Oh, wow.
I don't remember where it was before Garces though. But yeah, it's gone through so many iterations because it's just gotten so big, and we've gotten so big here in Bakersfield and Kern County. And it's just so fun to get together year after year and celebrate, again, those survivors and fighters.
Yeah, it'll be a great weekend, and that first lap is just so, again, it's so emotional, and
Especially for people look forward to getting that medal. And I love the medal ceremony because it's a chance to see all of these survivors walk through the finish line. And for me personally, I have friends that come each year to the medal ceremony, and for the last 10 years that they've been survivors, I always it warms my heart to be that person again, to give them that medal around their neck. So.
Right. Yeah, pretty neat. All right, so yeah, come on out. It's on. That's happening Saturday, pretty much all day, but it kicks off at like 8:30. So come on out. All right. Let's talk about some of the topics that we're going to get into today. So here's a question: like, how would you define a close friend?
I don't think I would have a specific definition. I think as you get older, it definitely changes, right?
I would. Okay, I agree.
A close friend is somebody that I can trust. A close friend that I can count on.
So yeah, what are some of the things that you would say would have to qualify as a
close friend?
Yeah.
Again,
just like, but specifically talking about like a close friend, like having that relationship.
Right.
Yeah.
I would say a close friend to me is somebody that I can trust, that would stop everything to help me. But that, I guess some of those are in my head. I feel I'm a close friend to somebody as well. But I would do that for anybody. I know that now. The more I think about
Video,
it.
sorry.
Oh, this video. These videos.
Oh my God!
Oh, that's
This
the
is
nap
killing
scene.
me.
The nap scene.
Yeah. I don't know if I would really cuddle up next to my best friend or my best friend.
Oh.
I don't know. I just think a best friend is somebody who you can really trust in.
So yeah.
According to a recent survey, most people define a close friend as someone they talk to at least once a week and see at least once a month. See, that's where I think it changes when you get older and busier with kids. I think it's okay. We realize that everyone's busy, and that if we go more than a week without talking, that it's okay.
I've had my best friend for 20 years, and he lives in Oklahoma.
Wow, that's wild.
We went to school together when we graduated high school, and we've been friends ever since.
You have a high school best friend
No,
still.
a college best friend.
Oh, college.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, when we started, we didn't like each other. We felt like we were competitors in school because we were in a TV program, and he thought he knew more than me. And then somebody said one day, "Oh, it's so cool to see brothers going to school together." And we looked at each other, and we're like, "We're not brothers." And they're like, "Oh, you guys somewhat look alike." And it was weird. It was that moment. I don't know, it just broke the ice. Somebody broke that ice. And then we became best friends, and we've been best friends ever since.
That's cool.
Yeah.
How often do you talk?
I would say once a month. I try to call John, or he
month.
tries to call me. He's in television as well, so he's busy. But he lives in Oklahoma. We haven't seen each other in several years.
Okay.
But we definitely talk.
You would still consider him your best friend?
I would. I could tell him anything.
Yeah. So my best friend lives down in Orange County, and we only talk like a few times a year, like we try to see each other a few times a year. Like he came up in December to see me in Hairspray, and we try to meet up every few months. But it's like it's so funny because I don't talk to him a ton, but when we do, we catch up. Our conversations can be hours sometimes, and it's just good because it's like you just pick up where you left off.
And you want to hear something real nerdy and maybe childish? So back in our early days of becoming best friends, when we'd call each other or whatever, we'd say, buddy, what's up, buddy? And I mean, we're in our 40s, almost getting 50. And when I call them, I say, what's up, buddy? Buddy, what's going on? You know, it's not John,
like that never,
you know, it's like he texts
that
me,
never left,
buddy, what's going on? You know, so it's kind of funny.
That's cute. That's
Yeah, my friend Ben, like, I mean, we're just, you know, we're really close. We met our freshman year, actually before we started school freshman year,
interesting.
and we hated each other. We thought that, well, I won't say what we really thought, but like, I mean, we were just like, we thought each other, we were just like, oh, they're a jerk. They're like, you know, whatever. And we were in the same dorm room, not in the same dorm, like in the same dorm house, not the same dorm room, but the same dorm house. And so we were obviously running into each other because, you know, there was like 60 guys in the dorm house. So we were still running into each other and stuff. But that's when we thought, we're like, oh, just this guy. But it wasn't until we were in our communications class, our first class at Pepperdine, communications class. I'm there sitting there. And I had a hat on backwards, and he walked in, and he had a hat on backwards.
Oh, two college guys trying to be cool.
Yeah, well, so we walk in, and like that was the only seat. Like there was only one seat left, and so it was next to me, and I'm like, oh gosh. And so, but since then, it's like we just
That's so funny.
we started to actually get to know each other, and then and then it just blossomed into this really,
So you guys both have college best friends.
Yeah, and you know, John is married, has 4 kids. I mean, he's got his own life, you know.
Let me ask you, do you talk to anyone from high school or before high school still?
Yeah, actually, when I went home a few months ago, I had lunch with a friend of mine. You know, I try to keep contact with people as much as I possibly can from my past. I think it's so important. At least for me.
So
I don't think it. I mean, I don't keep contact with anybody, and I don't really feel like I'm missing out.
Yeah, I mean, I just, you know.
Not in a bad way. I just haven't kept those.
I'm not saying my
I'm
list
like,
is
oh,
long,
what a, you know, like that's
people.
sad or something. It was never a bad like fallout or anything
Yeah,
like
no.
that. It was just.
I have a select few. Like my childhood friend, her name's Linda. We grew up down the street from each other, and we still talk. We're very close still. I've watched her kids grow up.
That's so interesting.
Yeah, and she, you know, she lives in my hometown, and every time I go to town, I never tell her I'm coming. And she works at Starbucks. She's worked at Starbucks for over 20 years. Starbucks has been her life, and I always get into town and I walk in and I surprise her, and you know, of course, she always gives me the crying eyes, and you know, she's so excited to see me when I visit, and we go out and reminisce about what life is like, you know.
Yeah, I have a friend who she was actually, so we've known each other for like 18 years. She was actually my prom date one year, which was a lot of fun. So we have like our prom pictures. That's
what we should show.
Our prom pictures.
Me and Linda went to prom together.
Oh, did you too?
Wow.
Oh, that's funny.
That's when Polaroids were being taken.
So we have we have this long relationship. She lives in Missouri now, but we still talk every, you know, as much as we can. Again, we're all busy. We're all in different places. We're not in Bakersfield together, you know, all that stuff. But like anytime she comes to town, we always try to catch up and get coffee or something, grab a drink or something. And it's usually just like short visits, right? Like maybe like 2 hours, like 2 or 3 hours. Usually nothing more than that because, you know, things that we all have things to do. But it's just always fun to reconnect, you know? And again, it goes back to that. This is where you left off, you know, a couple months ago, if not sometimes longer. And then when you see each other, you pick up right here and you just, you know, continue.
Yeah.
It's good to have those friends. It's good to have those relationships. You know, they say you only need a couple of those. And sometimes, you know, it's like the timing of it doesn't really matter. It's just good to have a close friend or a couple close friends, right? Like that's all that really matters is that like if you have a close friend, even if you've met them, like, you know, some people just click, right? And you click and then you can just form a relationship just like that. And then they become, you know, one of your closest confidants, right?
Now, it might be too early. How long have you guys been out of high school?
Too long.
Okay.
Have
you had a 10-year reunion yet?
Yes.
Okay, did
Yeah.
you
You're
go?
really
10-year.
sweet.
I can't remember.
Aw, that's cute.
She's had her 30 year. She just
Shut your mouth.
Right.
No, I
You're really
graduated
sweet.
in 2004.
Yeah.
Okay.
There you
you had
go.
your
So
20
did you
year.
go to your
It would have
10-year?
been. I would have been my 10 year, but that's the last one I went to.
No.
Because your
Because
20 year was last
I
year.
went to Bakersfield High School. big class,
Right.
really large. So when you have something which is rather small, like a 20-year reunion, the segment that would go, like there's a good chance I would know nobody
If you went to a
if I
20-year?
went to it. So that's why they held it last year at Calm, the day after
The
Keep
Jamboree.
Calm, the Jamboree. And I didn't go
That was
because
your
I was
20?
like, it would have been my 20th year.
Oh, geez,
last year.
then what's-
2004. I graduated in 2004.
Then I don't even know what I'm coming up. I have to do the math.
Yeah,
When did
but
you
I
graduate?
just was like,
Huh?
When did you
98,
graduate?
right?
97.
Oh, Justin was 98.
So
Yeah,
you're
Justin,
coming up on 30.
Yeah, 30. I don't know if
coming
they'll
up
have a
on
30-year reunion. I didn't go to my 20. I didn't went to my 10.
I went to my
I really
10.
wanted to go to my 20.
I also
just was
think
too
like
busy.
reunions are just like falling off the cliff, right? Like, I mean, it used to be like this big thing, but let's be real. Like with social media, like I see what people, it's like I catch up
Yeah.
on, and honestly, again, it's like, I mean, we all went to high school here. There's only a couple people I actually care to like keep in contact.
Well, that's
with.
the thing.
Even, like,
I
well,
don't
even-
keep in touch.
Even
with
like,
any-
I'm talking like even just like a little bit. Like I will not talk to you. I'll go years and years.
And I
Like,
did
if
not go to
if
high
I
school
see,
here.
it's like if I see you in person. If I see you in person, you know, I'll talk to you for 5 minutes or whatever. But
Yeah.
Right.
it's like that's like where it'll stop.
Uh-huh.
Well,
And
you're from
100%.
Bakersfield. Like for me, I think it would be nice. Maybe if we have a 30-year, I don't even know if they've talked about it. I try to check on social media. I might go to that one because it'd be really interesting to see where some. I mean, at
funny.
my age, I've lost high school friends already, and you know, so it'd be nice to see 30 years where everybody's at and what they're doing.
Yeah.
For high school, though, I mean, like, so I hung out, I was a theater nerd.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're not 1 year. Like, you're hanging out with everybody who's in theater from all 4 years. So the folks that I know weren't specifically my year. Like, I knew people my year, obviously, went to school with them for 4 years.
That's
but
how I am,
I
too.
don't keep, like, there would have been, I think, maybe there've been maybe 5 people I would have known at my
like you were
20-year
hanging
high
out
school
with
reunion
you were
last
hanging
year.
out with kids from class of 2002,
Exactly.
2003, 2001. Yeah, for sure.
And I think that's cool now. I mean, I think my mother-in-law went to a South High reunion a year or two ago, and it was like several years combined to do these larger reunions. And I think that's how a lot of schools do it now when you get to like your, I don't know, 40, 50th year reunions down the road, which is cool.
And I think you guys are a little different in Bakersfield because you have so many high schools in this town. Where I came from, I was in a smaller town. I had 2 high schools in town. So you had Mark Morris High School, you had Ari Long High School.
Oh, okay.
So, you know,
Yeah.
Mark Morris High School is Mark Morris, Ari Long is Ari Long. So, yeah, we mingled a little bit, but when we come to our reunions, you know,
I do think it
we're
would be. I do think it would be cool though to have like high school reunions, like not by class, but like
Yeah.
you know, you could go back to the high, like especially like with our high schools here in Bakersfield, they're large campuses. You can kind
Right.
of spread it out. It doesn't have to be so like if it is like your 20-year or your 50-year, you know, whatever it may be, or your 37th, whatever.
Right.
Like
Or
if you hold
off-numbered.
those like every 15, 20 years or something, like it's like because then you have the opportunity to have 7, 8 different classes and you can still mix and mingle and whatnot.
Well, they do
So-
like, you know, like they have a lot of BHS fundraisers, and
Yeah.
those kind of
Like those
serve
booster-
as
yeah.
big reunions,
Booster
you know,
events,
where
yeah.
if you were an alumni, you'll probably go and support, and then you can
Yeah.
run into other alumni from different classes and stuff. But it's so funny because I don't keep in touch. I keep it in touch with maybe, I just remembered one girl who I talked to every few years from high school. She wasn't my year though. And then one from college. So I have a phone date with today. And she was my roommate in college. But again, we haven't talked probably in a year. And so it's very, very rare. All my close friends, and I have several best friends. I wouldn't say I have one except for my sister. Like she's my,
Right.
best, longest, closest friend. But I don't have like one best friend. Like I have several best friends.
Is there
which is really cool.
Is there someone who knows absolutely every little detail about you?
Probably no, God, nobody else.
she's like, thank goodness.
Exactly.
No, we all think that, I think.
But I mean, my sister probably, and then
Is
my
messed up.
husband.
Yeah, I
would
mean,
be.
I think it's always good. 'Cause so, like, psychologists have, you know, it's always talked about. Like, psychologists always say, like, it's still good to have secrets. Like, it's good to still have like things that you can sit on, right? Meaning that it's also good practice, like not oversharing. And there's just some things
I'm a
that
classic oversharer.
you don't.
Yes.
and then I'm over here doing the same thing with you. We overshare
There's
all
our-
the time.
Lips sealed.
But no, I mean, it's psychologists say like it's good to just like still sit on things. Like you don't like not everyone needs to know every little detail about you. Like
Right.
it's not it's gratuitous. Like it's not like it's essential for any relationship to know 100% of the things Now, I'm not saying you
There's
got
a
to
line.
keep. There's a line.
Right?
There's a line.
You want to be
There's a
open
line.
people.
There's just
and
some
not,
things that like you don't need to share with others, right?
Like,
it's
I
just,
don't need to know that, Alex,
well,
actually.
yeah, and it's like, which is, we say this to each other all the time. But yeah, I mean, it's still like, I mean, even like with your spouses and like your close friends, that you know, the psychologists say like you don't need to share every little detail.
Right. Like when Kevin
about
uses Chat GPT to write my goodbye letter, I didn't need to know you were going to use Chat GPT, but thank you. I'm just kidding.
I'm not even going to write you a letter now. See you later, honey.
See, that might be better. Well, based on what Kevin said, you know, he usually shuts down anyway.
He told me that too.
I may just disappear to the closet when Maddie's exiting and
Wouldn't
say
be the
bye.
first time. Your story about when you got locked in the closet in school.
Oh,
I was
yeah,
locked in the closet when I was a kid for talking too much in elementary school.
Okay,
You're
so
bringing that back up,
let's
huh?
go. We didn't actually get to that story.
Let's just
last
say
week. Can we talk about it? Because
Sure.
it's one of my
Absolutely need
favorite
to.
Kevin
First
Shred
off,
stories
let's know
ever.
that I grew up in the 80s, okay? So times were different back then. Discipline was different than what you would see today. What happened to me back then in elementary school was I was talking too much in the class. So my teacher isolated, we had a pod, and there were classrooms all around the pod, and then there's a book closet. And my teacher decided to put my desk in the book closet so that I could focus on my studies and not disrupt the class. So the end of the
Dark
day,
in there?
huh?
Was it dark in there?
No, there's lights.
Are there lights?
There's light in there.
Okay.
So the end of the day comes, and my teacher forgets that I'm in the closet. So then my teacher, who's friends with my mom's also a teacher back then,
Goes home.
goes home. And
Goes home.
Without
my mom
you.
calls my teacher and says, "Where's Kevin?" And she goes, "Oh my gosh, he's in the book closet." So they-
You were no,
So-
let me ask you. Did you know that like everyone had left you and abandoned you?
You lose track of time. I'm just sitting there reading my books, doing whatever I
So
did.
it did work.
It was towards the end of the day. It wasn't like I was stuck in there at 9 a.m. and I.
But like, I mean,
was
also,
towards the end of the day.
like, didn't you hear like people like, or did you hear like the bell or something and go, oh, that's the end of the day?
Yeah, but I didn't. I guess I just didn't think
Or are you
about
stuck
it.
in the
old were
closet?
you?
I was probably. I think it was like third grade, fourth grade. So anyway,
Did you have abandonment issues after that? Like,
so then my mom said, "Okay, let's go down." So they go down and
go down to
they
the
get me out of the closet. And my mom, you know, you could think she's horrible, but you know, I turned out okay. She said, you know, maybe you should learn your lesson not to talk in class, and you can be with class and not in the book
Did you?
closet. Probably not. I was a talker, but I wasn't like scarred. You know, nowadays, geez, Louise, if that were to happen,
Oh,
there'd be a
lawsuits
lawsuit
up the wazoo.
Yeah, back then we didn't. And I mean, that was my punishment for not talking.
We would be doing stories. It would be like
I
our top
lied.
story this morning on 17 Years
We
of
talked about it.
Sunrise.
True.
Same
teacher keeps kid in
same time
closet.
frame. I lied to my teacher, and I was given a spanking in the principal's office with a paddle.
The Board of Education was your dad's.
That was my dad had the Board of Education in the closet. Which let me just preface by saying my dad is the softest guy ever. Like when he had to use the Board of Education, he almost couldn't even keep a straight face because theatrics turn into
Right,
know,
right.
No. You know me. No. Okay. You know, I'm like this is me as my dad's getting the Board of Education. No.
I just love. I'm sorry.
No.
I'm sorry.
And so
So our
my dad's
director was
laughing.
still. Our director had no idea that you were getting up, and was still zoomed in on you, and got a great shot of that.
You got a
I'll
great
just
shot
say,
of my butt?
Yeah, great shot of the butt there.
Yeah, so, you know, but my dad hardly ever used it because all he had to
Oh,
say, get the Board of Education, and it was just a piece of paneling like that up on the closet.
I had a friend who he would. So his dad would. They had like this like orange tree or something. I can't remember out there.
Call that a switch.
And yeah, and so you had to pick the switch.
You get to go pick it.
You got to go pick it, but you had to be like you. It was a what size of a switch do you think is appropriate for? and then what happened was if you brought back something that was too little and it was not appropriate for then it was like, oh, you're in more trouble, and so we have to go out and get a bigger one. And so, anyways.
That is hilarious.
I mean, go back
By
to
the
my
way,
dad's early days. You know, he went to Catholic school, and he used to tell me stories in Catholic school. The nuns slapping his hands with a ruler.
Ooh.
You know,
So
and
Yeah.
I'm sure people out there that maybe
my grandpa talks about how he was left-handed,
Uh-huh.
and his teacher was trying to get him to be right-handed.
Oh my gosh.
And
Was this at a Catholic school?
No,
Oh,
no,
okay.
no, no. It was public school.
Oh, public school.
And
Okay.
anytime he was caught writing with his left hand, she would come over and slap him on
That's
the.
so mean.
And so she would, yeah. And
It's a
it wasn't
different-
just one teacher. It was like throughout his elementary, and so he learned how to write on both hands. Now he's not ambidextrous by any means, but
Right.
like he learned how to get by, because he thought it was a disability. Like he grew up and he was taught when you write with your left hand, that's a disability, and
So
we have to
crazy times.
correct that behavior.
Yeah,
That's
So the
so
teacher would just stay there,
funny.
like, nope.
Crazy times back in the day,
so
right?
funny.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That is wild.
Some of these things today would just be like outrageous.
Oh,
Like
100%.
telling a student, you're writing with your left hand. You know, like,
Yeah. Or you lied to your teacher, get to the office, you're getting spanked.
man.
Kevin, I will remember your stories for the rest of my life. You
Still
have,
waiting on your book.
You have great
Your
stories.
memoir.
You should write a memoir. You really
Oh,
should.
no.
They're so funny.
Just
the
have
things
Chat-
that have happened
just
to you.
have ChatGPT
they're
write it for you.
incredible. There you go.
Yeah.
Just input them
Write a
all into
book,
ChatGPT. It'll write it for you. They're so unique. So unique.
I am a unique individual, I guess. I've had every job you can imagine.
You have?
What was your
Yeah.
worst job?
Oh, my worst job. What was my worst job? Ooh, I'm trying to think.
The bosses are really happy that you're not saying this job. So
You've already scored points there.
I don't know if I had a worse job. I mean, I just
was there a job where you're like, oh, I'm miserable. Like I gotta get out of this.
probably when I worked at McDonald's.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, I wasn't into the fast food. But I in my early days, you know, I just did whatever I had to do to, you know, to make it. My very first job, my dad had a 72 Chevy pickup truck, got my license. He'd let me drive it down the street to my first job at McDonald's. That was my first job.
That was your very first
My
job.
first job was McDonald's. Then I worked at some family restaurants in town
Okay.
for a little bit, worked at Walmart. I worked for a construction company, picking weeds around the facility.
Okay.
It's just, you know, whatever I had to do to earn a buck. You know?
Yeah.
I worked in the back at Macy's. Like I applied at Macy's when I was in high school thinking like, oh, I want to work in like the clothing store. But no, they put me in the back, like sticking the
Little tag?
pokey things
Yeah.
on,
Yeah.
that like loss prevention things.
Oh, yes.
But like I remember stabbing my finger over and over again trying to just put these on and then put hangers in clothes as they would like come down this thing. And I remember working with a guy who told me that he was a former, he used to be part of a gang in LA.
Okay.
And so he regaled me with those tales. I'm like 16 and
You're
working
like,
in the back at Macy's. And my trick was I'd bring a water bottle and I would fill it up.
Yeah.
With
and I would
what?
drink it, water.
Okay.
And I'd drink it all so I'd have to go to the bathroom, which was on the second floor. So it was like my way of taking extra breaks. Well, and then I'd fill it up again when I went to the bathroom, come back down and guzzle that water so that I'd have to go to the
Hilarious.
bathroom.
Wow.
Do you like cinnamon rolls?
Life hack.
What?
You like cinnamon rolls?
Why?
Because I made a good cinnamon roll at Cinnabon, too.
You worked at Cinnabon?
did.
Oh, that's hilarious.
I worked at Yogurtland.
Yogurtland.
And one day I had that job for like 3 years. I ended up being a shift manager.
I remember you telling me that.
Yeah, but one
Yogurtland.
day I was cutting strawberries, and you know I was going fast.
Oh no.
And
Oh,
I
no.
just went and like, and the tip of it, you can actually see it. You can still see
we
kind of a
might
scar
match,
there.
Alex.
I
I did that when I worked at a deli at Fred Meyer.
yeah, you
Oh
had the
my
like little scar right there.
Yeah.
You have to look for it, but you can see it when I like kind of do that. You can kind of see. So
Cleaning the salsa.
I was, and because I had strawberries, of course, blood goes everywhere.
Ew!
And it hurt so bad. And of course, we had I'm talking like a pallet of strawberries. I mean, there was so many strawberries, I had to throw them all away.
Contaminated by all this
It was a
blood.
whole thing.
Oh, well,
'Cause it was
actually,
just-
I'm never allowed to work at Macy's again. So, fun fact, because I quit without 2 weeks' notice. So, but that's why.
Yeah,
It must
there
be
you
really
go.
bad.
So that's my bad work story.
Yeah.
All right.
There you have
Thanks for joining us for After Sunrise. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye, everyone.
Bye.